Think you're underpaid? These 4 free tools will tell you the truth. Do you ever feel like salary talk is this weird mix of mystery, anxiety, and math that nobody really taught you how to do? Like you're out here applying for jobs, writing cover letters, even showing up to interviews, but when it comes to that final moment, the number you're kinda just guessing? Maybe you've Googled average salary for my job, clicked on 3 different links, and got 3 totally different answers. Or maybe you've asked around and realized your coworker, who literally does the same thing you do, is earning more. And suddenly you're spiraling, wondering, did I undersell myself? Or am I being underpaid and I don't even know it? If that's ever crossed your mind, trust me, you're not the only one. The truth is, understanding what a fair salary really means isn't just about numbers. It's about confidence, preparation, and having the right tools to back yourself up, especially when you're early in your career or pivoting into a new field. So in this video, we're going to break it down together. No spreadsheets, no complicated lingo. Just 4 free, easy-to-use tools that can help you figure out what you should be paid and how to use them without feeling overwhelmed or lost. These tools aren't magic, but they are powerful when you know how to use them right. And to kick things off, I want to tell you about something that happened to a friend of mine. She got a job off her first real job out of college. She was over the moon. The salary looked decent, the benefits were okay, and the company seemed cool. But something about the number felt off. So I asked her, "Did you check it on levels.fyi?" She blinked. "What's that?" That's when I realized, we spend years learning how to write essays, memorize dates, do math equations we'll never use again, but no one teaches us how to look up if we're being paid fairly. Levels.fyi is one of those tools that started for tech jobs but has grown way beyond that. It's especially great if you're in software, design, data, or product roles. You can compare salaries across companies, see how compensation changes by experience level, and even check what people at your job title are getting paid down to the base salary, bonus, and stock. And it's not just a general guess, these are real data points submitted by real people. When my friend checked it, turns out the offer was about $7,000 below what others at that company were making for the same level. That number changed the entire conversation. She went back, respectfully brought the data to the table, and guess what? They bumped the offer up. Now here's the thing, you don't need to work in tech to use salary tools well. Another free site that I always recommend is Glassdoor. You've probably used it to read company reviews, but the salary insights are gold. Just type in the job title, location, and company, and it'll show you a range based on actual employee reports. It's not perfect, some salaries might be outdated or a little skewed, but when you cross-check it with something like levels.fyi or another tool I'll share in a bit, you start to see patterns. And patterns tell stories. Here's a tip, don't just look at the average. Pay attention to the range. If you're being offered something below that bottom number, it's a red flag. If it's closer to the top and you're just starting out, maybe that's generous. Context matters, and these tools help you build that context so you're not negotiating in the dark. So what happens when the company you're applying to doesn't show up on levels.fyi or Glassdoor? That's when my third go-to comes in, PayScale. I love PayScale because it feels more personal. You can build a full profile, job title, years of experience, skills, education, even certifications, and it'll give you a customized salary report. This one is especially helpful if your job isn't a typical office role or if you're combining multiple skill sets into one position. I remember someone I coached who was doing marketing, content writing, and event planning all rolled into one title. The job listing said marketing coordinator, but when we plugged everything into PayScale, the fair market value jumped by 15%. That gave her the confidence to say, "Hey, I'm actually wearing multiple hats here and I'd like to be compensated accordingly." That's a different kind of power, one that comes from information, not guesswork. And honestly, that's what this whole thing is about. Knowing your worth isn't about being aggressive or entitled. It's about being informed. It's about walking into that salary conversation not with fear or desperation, but with clarity. Because when you know the numbers and you have the receipts, it changes how you carry yourself. It changes the whole energy in the room. Now, we've talked about a few powerful tools already, levels.fyi, Glassdoor, Payscale, but there's one more that can seriously level up how you prepare for salary talks, especially when you're comparing offers or planning for the next step. So let's dive into that next. So let's talk about that fourth tool, because this one's a bit of a hidden gem, and honestly, I don't know why more people don't talk about it. It's called the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook, or just the BLS site for short. I know, it sounds super formal and boring, like something you'd only open for a school report. But hear me out. This government-run site is actually packed with gold, not just salary info, but job growth, trends, and even regional differences in pay. Let me paint a picture. Say you're considering a job as a graphic designer. You find an offer that looks okay, maybe $45,000 a year. But when you plug that role into the BLS site, you realize that the national average is actually closer to $59,000. Not only that, but it shows you how the pay changes depending on the state, what industries pay the most, and even how fast the field is growing. Suddenly, you're not just looking at one number, you're seeing a whole map of your career. That's the kind of awareness that helps you not just accept a job, but make a real decision about your future. And here's the best part, it's totally free, super detailed, and no login required. I remember a guy I met at a networking event who said he used the BLS site to pivot from retail management to logistics just because he saw the salary ceiling was higher, and the job market was expanding faster. He used that data to target new roles, reframe his resume, and land a better-paying job with growth potential. No extra degree, no fancy bootcamp, just strategy and good research. Now, by this point, you might be thinking, okay, cool, I get the tools. But what if I find out I'm underpaid? Or I'm about to be? And that's the real heart of this video, isn't it? Not just knowing the number, but knowing what to do with it. So let's talk through that. Let's say you do your homework. You check Glassdoor, levels.fyi, Payscale, and the BLS. You see that your current offer or even your current salary is significantly lower than what others in your role are making. Now what? The answer isn't to panic or to storm into your boss's office with a printout. The answer is preparation and conversation. And it starts with how you frame it. You don't say, I think I'm underpaid. You say, based on the market data I've researched, I'd like to revisit the conversation around compensation. That's not confrontational, that's professional. It signals that you've done the work. That you're not guessing. You're showing up informed and intentional. And if you're in the job offer stage, you've got a perfect opening. When the recruiter says, do you have any questions? That's your moment. You can respond with something like, thanks for the offer, I'm genuinely excited. I've looked at the market data from tools like Payscale and levels.fyi, and I noticed that similar roles in this field and region tend to offer between X and Y. I was wondering if there's flexibility on the compensation to reflect that range. That one sentence changes everything. Because you're not demanding. You're inviting a conversation. And people respond to that. I had a coaching client, let's call him Marcus, who was offered $52,000 for an entry-level marketing role. He used all 4 tools, wrote everything down, and came to our call saying, I feel like I should be earning more, but I don't want to come off as ungrateful. And that's so real, right? Especially when you're just starting out. You don't want to ruin a good thing. But gratitude doesn't mean silence. So we practiced. He followed the exact line I just shared, word for word. Guess what? They came back with $58,000 and a clearer growth path over the next 12 months. That's not luck. That's research plus courage. Now here's something you might not expect. Even if they don't budge on the salary, these conversations still win you respect. Because they show you're not just taking what's given, you're showing up with awareness, with value, and with voice. And in a world where so many people are told to just be grateful for the opportunity, that voice, it matters. The truth is, no one will ever care about your compensation more than you. Not your manager, not HR, not even the company itself. It's not personal, it's just how things work. That's why these tools matter. Because they give you the clarity to advocate for yourself in a system that's not always built to explain itself. So whether you're job hunting, negotiating your first offer, or just wondering if you're where you should be, these tools are your allies. They won't solve everything, but they will make sure you're not walking into any conversation blind. And that brings us to something a lot of people forget: how your mindset around money and worth can shape your whole career. That's what we're going to dive into next. It's wild how a simple question, "Am I being paid fairly?" can open up a whole world of doubt, hope, ambition, and fear all at once. And that's because money isn't just money. It's about being seen. It's about respect. It's about survival. It's about what kind of life you'll be able to build when the workday is over. But here's something I wish someone told me earlier: fair pay isn't a favor. It's a standard. And understanding that can shift the way you walk into every room, every meeting, every offer. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one more story, one that always sticks with me. There was this guy, Luis, a first-gen college grad, brilliant, hardworking, kind. He got an offer for a job in public relations. It was his dream role, but the offer was low. Like, just enough to get by. And you know what he said to me? "I feel bad asking for more. I don't want to seem like I'm not grateful. My parents would have killed for this opportunity." And my heart sank, because that's the weight so many of us carry: not just the job, but the history, the sacrifices, the idea that we should just say yes and be thankful. But here's the truth: gratitude and self-respect can live in the same sentence. You can be proud of where you came from and still ask for what you're worth. You can say thank you and also say, "I'd like to discuss compensation." That doesn't make you greedy. That makes you grounded. So Luis took a breath, used the tools we've talked about: Glassdoor, Levels.fyi, Payscale, the BLS site, and wrote a short, respectful email. He acknowledged his excitement, shared some research, and asked if there was room for movement on the offer. They didn't just raise the salary, they offered a sign-on bonus. And more than that, they told him how impressed they were that he advocated for himself. Because that's what a fair salary conversation really is. It's not about proving your worth, it's about recognizing it. And listen, I know all of this can feel intimidating at first. Especially when you're in your 20s, just figuring things out, trying to make rent and maybe save a little. There's a lot of noise out there. But here's what matters most: you have a right to ask. You have a right to know. You have a right to walk into any salary conversation with the tools, the facts, and the belief that you belong there. No one is going to hand you that confidence. You build it. Day by day. Tool by tool. Word by word. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. One day, you'll be the person someone else turns to, asking, "Hey, how did you know what to say?" And you'll smile, because you'll remember that it wasn't magic, it was research, reflection, and the courage to speak up. So, before we go, I want you to do one thing: pick one of the tools we talked about today. Just one. Glassdoor, Levels.fyi, Payscale, or the BLS Occupational Outlook Handbook. Plug in your role. See what comes up. Get curious. That small step? It could change everything. And if you've already had a moment like that where you looked up a salary and realized, "Whoa, I deserve more than this," share it in the comments. Your story might help someone else who's sitting exactly where you were. If this video helped you even a little bit, hit that like button. It lets me know to keep making stuff like this. And if you want more videos that make the job world feel a little less confusing, hit subscribe. I've got a lot more coming your way. You deserve to feel confident in what you earn. You deserve to feel proud of how you show up. And you deserve to build a life that reflects all the value you bring, not just on paper, but out loud. Wishing you clarity, courage, and every opportunity that aligns with the real you.